You know this perhaps more intimately than many in the sense of the decision-making process. How would that have developed to make sure that each word, comma and dot was properly chosen so that the palace get the story out but don't frighten the population?
Well, very simply, is by coming up with the facts as they are, that yes, she has tested positive for COVID. She does have mild cold symptoms, which is symptomatic with anybody who has tested positive, having had 3 jabs, and that she will continue to undertake light duties. Light duties being she will go through her red boxes, official papers. She might even Zoom. She might feel well enough to do that in an audience. That remains to be seen. But at the moment, she is 95 going on 96. I was asked earlier, is there concern? I think concern for her age, but the fact that she has been inoculated and vaccinated 3 times sort of slightly diminishes that cause for concern.
It is interesting. 1 or 2 other people have been commenting and observing that it comes the day before the Prime Minister is expected to lift pretty well all remaining COVID restrictions, including testing and the need for isolation. And yet the royal family assiduously have stuck by all of those rules up to now. And the statement repeats that she will abide by all of the regulations as set. It's a family that doesn't muck about when health is at stake.
No, it doesn't muck about when health is at stake. And yes, they've stuck assiduously to the regulations. I mean, nobody can forget that picture of the Queen sitting in the choir stalls at St George's Chapel at the funeral of her husband, the late Prince Philip, sticking to the regulations, social distancing. So they have stuck to the rules. I think the problem is that there are other members within Windsor Castle who have contracted COVID, which means that, it might have been pretty virulent, that the people that she comes in direct contact with haven't tested positive, but those sort of on the edge have. And the virus has spread its way into the rest of the household.
Yeah. Dickie, stay exactly where you are, and you'll hear what I say next, because we're breaking into our conversation, which we will then continue, because the Prime Minister Boris Johnson has tweeted, and I quote, "I'm sure I speak for everyone in wishing Her Majesty the Queen a swift recovery from COVID and a rapid return to vibrant good health." He continues, "COVID will not suddenly disappear, and we need to learn to live with this virus and continue to protect ourselves without restricting our freedom." And also the Leader of the Opposition, Sir Keir Starmer, says, "On behalf of myself and the whole of the Labour Party, wishing Her Majesty the Queen good health and a speedy recovery. Get well soon, ma'am," they both say. Dickie, interesting. Again, you and I have been around for so long that when the Prime Minister and the Leader of Her Majesty's opposition choose to comment upon it, it just underlines the fact that this is not just a throwaway line. This is a serious matter that we need to watch, but not overreact to.
You're absolutely right, not overreact, but certainly watch. You know, we've gone through 2 years of a pandemic, almost 2 years. Countless people have died. There are still people going down positive. There are still people suffering it who've not been vaccinated. And it's not going to go away. We're going to have to learn to live with it, even though the sort of tight rules and regulations are going to be falling away fairly shortly. But yes, they have both commented, both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition. We are talking, after all, about our head of state, our 95-year-old Queen, who is celebrating this year her Platinum Jubilee, and she's going on 96. So, you know, there is the age factor attached to it as well. But there's also, as far as the rest of the country concerned, she is our head of state. We've all grown up with her, and we all want to wish her well.
Tell me this, and you're one of the few people who genuinely will be able to answer the question. When you've got something like your Platinum Jubilee, the only person in the world for the first time ever, does it give her, I mean, she had the same with the Golden Jubilee, Silver Jubilee and those other huge, massive events in her lifetime. Does that draw her to it and give her a kind of renewed impetus, or does she just take these things in her stride?
Well, there's an element of both, actually, taking it in her stride. I mean, after all, people used to say to me when I was working at the palace, even before and even now, how does she celebrate her accession? Well, she doesn't celebrate her accession because her accession came about with the death of her father, King George VI. But she knows that Platinum Jubilee, any Jubilee, is a milestone in one's life. She knows people want to celebrate. She knows that there are going to be celebrations over that long weekend, 2nd to the 5th of June, and she wants to celebrate along with everybody else. Everybody likes the idea of marking an occasion, whether it's a street party or a bit of a knees up outside Buckingham Palace. She's aware of that, and she wants to join in the fun. Not quite the knees up, but she certainly wants to join in the fun, certainly on the Sunday when there's the big pageant, but all the other things are attached to it as well. So, yes, she's going to gather with the momentum, but right up to then, there are several months, and there are going to be several engagements, and I think there's a general expectation and a hope that she will be able to undertake 1 or 2 engagements around the country. But that, again, depends on the state of her health.
Yeah.
We've seen her a couple of days ago with the help, not using the stick to walk, just using it as a bit of a prop, but saying, to the 2 Defence Services secretaries, in other words, come to me because I can't come to you, I can't walk, I can't move. So we have to take that into consideration. But there is a general expectation, I think people around the country, they would like to see her. She was once reputed to have said, I have to be seen to be believed. That was a time when security was being discussed, and she mentioned it to one of her staff. She has to be seen to be believed without the sort of massive security around her like they have around presidents in the United States. So there is an expectation. We want to see her, and we wish her well.
I agree with all of that. Final point, I'm going to tempt you. I mean, it's not breaching any confidences. It's just that you know and I don't. When you have a challenge like this for the household, be it at Windsor or at Buckingham, but we know we're at Windsor Castle, Buckingham Palace rather, we know we're at Windsor Castle, who's actually in charge of orchestrating everything that Her Majesty needs? Because you've got the Master of the Household, you've got the Private Secretary, you've got heads of this, that and the other. Who actually says, right, here's what we're doing, guys?
Well, as far as the Windsor Castle is concerned and everything that's happening in Windsor Castle, that's the Master of the Household. As far as the Queen's activities are concerned, whether it's work coming in, work going out, audiences, that's up to the Private Secretary. With the help of a Deputy Private Secretary and an equerry. But at the end of the day, as far as the building and everything in the building is concerned, the food, the entertainment, and everything attached to it, that is the Master of the Household. So it's a team effort. It's not just one person, it is a team, and the team works extremely well.